In the recent series The Penguin, we see Oswald Cobblepot go from a chauffeur to a club owner and then a gang leader and at the end to a fully fledged mafia boss. And this wasn't by accident. Oz had a very clear plan and was very intentional with his actions and moving up the criminal food chain. The Penguin wasn't a superhero. As much as we liked him as an audience, he had to kill, he lied, he sold drugs, and was knees deep in criminal affairs. But just like a lot of villains, there are things we can learn from them and their successes. The Penguin had a lot of admirable qualities, and the fact that he managed to achieve his goals of getting to the top of the food chain wasn't by accident, and there are things that we can take away from that. In this video, I'm going to be identifying the main things Oz did to get to the top of his empire, taking away some key lessons from this. Before we get into the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I will be publishing a lot more videos in 2025 and do appreciate all the support. So the first thing that helped Oz get to the top was to set a very clear goal. From the start, Oz had a goal, and we learned this in the first scene of The Penguin, where he almost tells Alberto what his goal was, and the fact that he got his vision from another gangster he used to know called Rex. This gave us insight that this has been a long-term goal for Oz, and it stems all the way back to his childhood. As he had a very clear goal of where he wanted to get to, it means when opportunities do come about, he's very quick to take them. The reason why he has a goal is it gives him something to work towards. He's obviously in the criminal business, and when we meet Oz in episode 1, he is actually already quite high up. He's got a lot of people under him. I don't know what the technical term would be for his position, but it's the equivalent of like a drug manager or a drug boss to an extent, where there is still people above him that tell him what to do, but he is quite high up on the food chain. But this wasn't enough for Oz. He had a goal to be at the top, with no one else next to him, and him having that goal helped him achieve it. Another thing what makes his goal so powerful is it's such a big goal. He didn't have small aspirations. His goal was big, and he had to work over a course of years to get there. When you have a goal like Oz, does it give you a sense of direction? And every day when you're completing actions or doing things, you know where you're heading, or at least where you want to be heading. And even if Oz would have fallen short of the goal, and it wouldn't have played out how it did, he still would have got pretty high up on that food chain. The second thing we can learn from Oz is to be patient and overcome obstacles. Oz's success wasn't overnight. It took him ages to get where he needed to be. And although we don't see Oz in his early years, apart from as a child, with the flashback scenes, we do know he started work quite young. And even though Oz was working towards his goal of gaining more power and being at the top of the food chain, he had no problem with biding his time and taking the slow way around. This would be the same in most things in life in general. Success does take time and you do have to be patient, and what goes hand in hand with that is all the obstacles Oz had to come over. Throughout Oz's journey, he's had people try and kill him, people kidnap his mom, kidnap him, threaten him. He's taken losses such as losing drugs, losing money. The thing that made him so successful is that he was patient while still overcoming all his obstacles. But what made Oz win in the end eventually is that he was willing to play the long game. Now, point number 3 of what Oz did to make himself so successful is that he had to learn about people, specifically the ones around him, and he also had to learn how to use people. I think this was the most intelligent point about how Oz actually achieved what he achieved. Everyone around him was a pawn in this game. He literally went to one crime family and whispered in their ear, then went to the other one and whispered in their ear, and that's when the families became at war with each other. He uses every single person around him, but even from the first episode, he sees an opportunity to bring Victor in and use Vic as an employee to him. And that's exactly what he does. We see a common theme of him befriending people and then using them later down the line. We see this with Sophia, where he teams up with her and then ends up betraying her. We see this with Maroni as well, where at the start he befriends him and then ends up betraying him as well. This was an extremely common theme, but Oz had no issues with trying to get close to people, getting on their good side, and then using them down the line. Obviously, when he's using this tactic, it is going to make him untrustworthy because there's only a certain amount of times you can do this publicly before people see you as an untrustworthy character. But Oz would do this, and then when people used to find out that he'd betrayed them, he used to just kill them and then move on to the next pawn in his game to use. All the people that worked for and helped Oz, such as his employees, his friend Eve, they were all pawns in his game. They all helped him, and he had a kind of sweet way of talking to people where he would persuade people to help him that came across very sincere to them. You see about 3-4 scenes throughout the series of Oz talking to his friends or co-workers or however you want to call them, and he almost comes across as like a motivational speaker when he's speaking to them, trying to almost hype them up to get them to do what he wants them to do. Now, we don't see him obviously betray these, but anyone on the higher level of the gangster food chain, we do see him betray. One thing he used to get people on their side was he used to offer them what that person would have wanted. So someone like Sophia, for example, how he got her on his side was he actually offered her a way for Sophia to get more respect within her own family and become the head of her family. So it was very clever and intentional how he did that, which did end up working in the end. To me, I feel like this was the main thing that drove him to his success. One more extra thing, which I think how really helped him, was that he never revealed his true plans to anyone. Throughout the whole series, you don't really see him sit down and discuss his plans at length with anyone, and I think this makes him very unpredictable to his enemies, to his friends, and even when people do turn on him, they don't fully know what Oz has planned out, as no one knows his true motives. At the end of the season, we do see Oz kill Vic, and whether this was planned or not, even as the audience, we don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if Oz had planned that in his head from the start of their relationship. Either way, I do think with all these things mixed in, it's what led to Oz's success in getting him where he wants to get. Now obviously there's other factors that led into it. You might want to say that he was lucky in certain scenarios, but in my opinion, he did give off the vibe as everything he did was intentional, and he ultimately played the criminal game and won and came out on top of everyone. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. Thank you for watching the video, and please make sure to subscribe to the channel, as it does mean a lot. And let me know about your thoughts on Oz as well, and what led him to do what he did, and why he was so successful in the way he did things. Thank you for watching and have a good day.